knowing that there really was no chance for advancement, wondering if she was even going to have a job. There certainly were no support systems like welfare. There was no such thing as food stamps. And so I can remember my mom really struggling. She would wake up in the middle of the night not being able to breathe. At that time we said, oh, she's having one of her spells, but really what she was having were panic attacks because she didn't know if she was really going to have a job. And so the one really great thing was that we did have a support system. There were 2 Italian ladies that lived upstairs from us, that one took care of me, the other was a seamstress. My mom's best friend was a graduate from the University of Oregon. She was a Phi Beta Kappa. She graduated in business, but she was a secretary because that's what women did in the 50s and 60s. But each of these women really shared a common thread, and that was that they were very strong women, and they always instilled in me that I could be better, that I could do better, and that I could have so much more. And so when I graduated from high school, I went to work. I was a secretary in the 60s. I went to work for a Japanese steamship line. We were only a 7-person office at the time. And I hired in as the secretary to the vice president. Now, a Japanese company, they're very conservative, and transportation is a very male-dominated industry. But I worked really hard, and I continued to learn every position, and it wasn't always easy, but eventually I became the vice president for the Western region. We saw our office grow from a 7-person office to 400 on the West Coast. The one thing that I saw as I was kind of growing up in the industry were a lot of women like my mother. They were in the same situation where there wasn't a lot of opportunity for them. So what I tried to do in my position was really to hire more women and to train those women and to promote those women. So that when I retired, there were more women in management positions than men, which I'm proud to say. And I really felt like I was striking a blow for equality for women, and also that I was leaving behind a legacy of women to carry on the fight that I had started. So when I was getting ready to retire, I was asked many times, what are you going to do with all your free time? And I said, you know, I would really like to find a political person that I could really share values with, and I would work very hard to get that person elected. And I found that person in Senator Jeff Merkley. Senator Merkley is an advocate for women. I mean, he believes in equal pay for equal work. He believes in a woman's right to choose. And he believes even if you're only making a minimum wage, you should be able to afford to raise your family and even send your kids to school. So I'm going to ask all of you, not just the women today, but I'm going to ask you to try and get involved in this campaign. It is so important. I'm going to ask you to sign up today to attend a phone bank. I'm going to ask you today to do some canvassing, to knock on some doors, talk to your relatives, your friends, but do something to help the Democrats get elected. And you need to start now and do this through November 4, and I hope you sign up today. Thank you.
We know that actions taken by volunteers to register voters and get them to exercise their precious right to vote make a critical difference. We know that holding house parties and neighborhood events to raise many small dollar donations We'll beat the Koch brothers and Karl Rove's dark money super PACs. Because we did it in Jeff Merkley's first Senate race and in electing and re-electing Obama-Biden. We need to give them a Congress that will work with them to pass progressive legislation instead of throwing a monkey wrench in the gears of government. Don't ride the roller coaster of polls or be depressed by the mainstream media's focus on every bit of dismal news. Don't boo, vote. Oregon ballots drop in a week, October 15th. We must ramp up our efforts now. So before you leave today, pledge to speak to every 18 to 30-year-old in your family circle to make sure they are registered at their current Oregon address by the 14th. Throw a voter's guide party with a few friends to discuss the critical importance of voting for Democrats up and down the ticket and collecting a few donations to help with the Get Out the Vote effort.